Come Dine With Me. I'm Julian and I'm going to be your chef for the starter. I'm the poor man's Jamie Oliver. I'm somebody who really likes cooking. I learned my trade at my mother's apron. I used to particularly enjoy helping her to make cakes, and the best bit about that was scraping the bowl afterwards. And I'll let you into a secret, sometimes I make cake mixture, a big bowl of it, and I eat it raw. I don't even bother putting it in the oven. I've learned that the most difficult thing about being a TV chef is first of all tidying the kitchen and then deciding what shirt to wear. It also occurs to me that if you've ever been here for a dinner party, you may well have had this dish. So I just want to clarify that I can cook more than one starter, but it is something of a favourite. Okay, so just to run you through the ingredients, I have a piece of salmon here which is 1/2 kilogram. That's actually half a side of salmon, which I'm going to roast in the oven in a moment. I have a large bunch of spring onions which I've chopped, keeping them fairly decent sized pieces to give some texture. I've got the zest of a lime and the juice of half a lime. I've got some chopped chilies, some fish sauce, which you can get in most supermarkets, some grated ginger, which you could either do from a fresh piece of ginger or you can buy that in a jar. I buy it in a jar. And these are some kaffir lime leaves, which you can get in most supermarkets. If you're doing online shopping, as we have been doing recently, you might find that gets substituted by something random like sausages. So just be mindful of that if you're putting in an online order. So first of all, I'm going to put my piece of salmon into the oven for about 35 to 40 minutes at 170 degrees. Okay, so the salmon is now cooked, so I'm going to take this out of the oven and allow it to cool for a little, and then we will put it into the bowl and we'll begin the next part of the recipe. The salmon has cooled slightly and is now in the bowl, which I've flaked. I should say, whenever I'm cooking, I always measure all my ingredients out to begin with into individual matching ramekins, cleaning the kitchen up as I go along.
Believe that if you will.
I'm sure Delia Smith doesn't have that to contend with from her production crew. So what I'm going to do now is put the other ingredients into the bowl. So in goes the chopped spring onions, the chilli, the lime zest, measured out fish sauce, the juice of half a lime, some grated ginger, and the lime leaves. And then what I'm going to try and do neatly is to combine this ingredients into it's a sort of mixture that you will be able to then form into the sort of patties for the fish cakes, which will then cook. Okay, now comes the part of forming the fish cakes. Obviously, my hands are scrupulously clean. We've had a lot of emphasis on that over the last couple of months. I've sung happy birthday several times while washing my hands before we started. You can actually make this by forming the patties with your hands if you want to, if you're feeling a bit more rustic. But I find that I've got a pastry cutter or cookie cutter, and that then means you've got a sort of uniform size. So taking some of the mixture, you take this and press it to form the size of the fish cake. You want to be quite generous, you can sort of push it down as you're going along. And the ingredients that we have here is enough to make 6. So if you were having a dinner party, each guest would get one each with some accompaniments and dipping sauce. So we're now coming to the part of frying the fish cakes. I'm using a toasted sesame oil to keep to the sort of Asian theme, but you could use any groundnut oil or any oil of your choice really. Then we're going to wait for the pan to get hot and then transfer the patties into the pan just to sort of brown them. And they'll probably take about 2 or 3 minutes each side. You can flip them over and make sure that they're cooked on the other side. The beauty of this particular dish is you could make these very often. If I'm having a dinner party, I would do these in advance. You can then put them on a baking sheet, pre-cooked, and then just before your guests arrive, you can then put them back into the oven for 20 minutes just to heat them through. So you can chat to your guests while they arrive rather than be out in the kitchen cooking. The fish cakes are now cooked, so I'm going to make a little dipping sauce to go with them. So I've got some mayonnaise, which I'm putting into the dish, and I'm going to add to that some chopped fresh coriander, and this is the remaining half of the lime, the juice, the other half that went into the fish cakes. So you just gently mix that together, and then that can go onto the table as a dipping sauce that accompanies the fish cakes.